Okay, so getting into the approach for visual journaling, I wanted to give a little bit of background to some of the materials I'm using. This here is an 11 by 14 Strathmore journal sketchbook. It is a hardbound book, as you can see, acid-free pages. And I wanted to show some of the ways that I have started some of my visual journaling entries. Obviously, this one here started out with just very messy acrylic paint for the background. And that's how I start most of my pages. I like to get some color on the page first of all, and then I kind of go with what my intuition kind of tells me to do with the pages. And what I ended up doing with this one was creating these sort of primitive drawings with oil pastel on top of the acrylic. And they're kind of a set, so these go together. Obviously, you've got the unborn baby on this side with the umbilical cord, and then you've got the expecting mother on this side holding her belly, obviously. So that page was just sort of a reflection for me on my pregnancies with my children, and the colors sort of a warm and a cool contrast just created visual interest for me. Now, other times I will do things like this page, completely different, these two pages, where you can see underneath I've got the acrylic and I've got some stamping going on under here. But then on top of that, I did collage, I did stickers, I dated it. And then I decided to put 25 things about me, just as sort of a journal entry reflection on 2015, which was when I was 25 years old. And this here is something that I do quite often. These pages I would consider unfinished because they don't have any color, they don't have any background. But what I started with was song lyrics. And I've highlighted some of the lyrics, some of the words that stand out to me. And this page definitely needs something else on top of it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put words down, and then on top of that I'll add collage or a picture. These two pages I would also probably consider unfinished. Here I used watercolor and then oil pastel, again on a pregnant woman, and some flowers over here. This is a vinyl decal that my mom cut out for me, and she gave me the negative piece, so I just stuck it in here as a reminder. And then I've got this quote over here. This quote just really stood out to me. There are ghosts of yourself scattered everywhere, whispers of a moment suspended in time, where every life that you've brushed up against now lives with a piece of you trapped in their mind, by Eric Hansen. So I just put that in there to remember the quote. I wrote it down, I'm sure, while I was listening to a podcast or just looking up quotes, and I just stuck it there because it felt like a good place to put it. But I will probably add more to these pages at some point. And this is the final page I'm going to talk about right now. These are probably two of my absolute favorite pages I've done in this journal. I started with acrylic paint, just sort of haphazardly on both sides of the page, just kind of slapping it on. I think I was using like a stencil brush for these, similar to this type of a brush, just sort of like dabbing it on there with the colors I wanted to use. So then I took a reference of a butterfly on this side and I did it upside down. I thought that would be neat for some reason. I used Sharpie and then my white galaxy markers by American Crafts to highlight some of the areas. And then I put a Bible verse reference down here at the bottom. And over on this side, what I actually did after I did the acrylic dabbing over here was I have this sheet of watercolor paper where I had practiced some watercolor roses, and I put, again, more song lyrics, like being in love for the first time. And then up here in this rose area, I've just got those song lyrics kind of going in a spiral direction. So these two pages, for me, there's just something about them that really connects with me personally. I love the butterfly and I love the flowers together. And although they're not completely coordinated with the colors, these were really meaningful for me to create. The process, I would say, was more interesting to me than anything. And it actually looks like on this side too, I did use some stamp or stencil on the wings to add some more pattern on the page. So that's all I wanted to share for now. Just a little bit about visual journaling and some different approaches you can take. Really, the sky is the limit. You can use any medium you want: Sharpie, acrylic, pencil, watercolor, colored pencil, charcoal, pen, ink, whatever. It's your book, it's your story that you get to tell however you want to. The only thing I probably wouldn't recommend is oil paint, just because of the drying times required for that. So you wouldn't be able to move as quickly as you can, like with laying down an acrylic background. But I will share more of this in a future video. I just wanted to give a little snippet. Thanks.